Hey guys, I'm just Jershin. Welcome back to something a little bit different on the channel, which is basically what I say anytime I do anything other than an update video. Today we're going to be doing, courtesy of our boy Yeetus, well he didn't make this and he also despises it, but he gave me the idea, which is to do a 16 personalities, aka a Myers Briggs test. It is a psychology personality test of sorts that gives you a 4-letter combination that is said to describe your personality, and it goes into a lot of depth about how that personality affects your personal life, your behavior, your relationships, love life, family life, jobs, etc. Do I think you can do I think you can categorize the entirety of humanity into one of 16 personality types? Obviously not, or I'd believe in astrology. No, but however, I will say I've taken a lot of, by the way, Yeti's video and channel will be in the description below since he gave me the idea to do this. And it's something I've been, I'm weird about how much I share sometimes here on the internet, and this is going to be a deeply personal quiz for sure. I'm going to be sharing a decent amount. You're going to learn. I'm not going to get too in-depth into it because it's a very long quiz, as you can, well, there's only 5 questions, but it's like 100 pages long. It's a long quiz, so if I give you my entire life's backstory for every question, we may be here for a bit, and I don't have a bit, so we're going to try to record this decently quickly. I'll give you my honest answers. I'll also let you know that often at different points in my life, I have taken probably a little bit too much pride or faith into what my Myers Briggs personality type was. For the longest time, I was an INTJ, which is like the cream of the crop as far as I'm concerned. It's like all of the brightest minds, the greatest scientists, etc., etc. It was like, I think, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that because I want to say there was like Mussolini was also an INTJ. Look, when you try to categorize everybody into one of 16 things, you're going to have some bad apples in there too. But it was like one of the rarest personality types, and it was like, you're amazing. And then some point in college, I switched from an INTJ to an INTP, which is one of the more common ones, and I swear I had a small crisis of conscience, which I seem to have every 5 days. But at that time, it was a huge one. So I'm interested to see. The last time I took this was probably 3 or so years ago. I was an INTP. The question is, am I still an INTP, or am I going to have another mental breakdown today? Okay, let's get into this. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. I'm gonna hit you with a hard, heavy, the heaviest of disagrees here. I am maybe not a heavy disagree. I think 2020 and COVID times has maybe changed my perspective on it a bit. I would love to go to a concert right about now. A crowded restaurant would be like a strange wake-up call to me, I think. But I would say on the typical, if I had to choose between like a night at home, by the way, 1 second. Which of the 16 personality types drinks the most Diet Dr. Pepper? Not the cream soda because we couldn't find it. Yeah, I think in a past life I would have been hard disagree. Given the choice between staying home or even hanging out with a couple of friends versus going to a party or a crowded bar or concert, 99% of the time I'd choose the quiet night at home. But I could do with a couple social events right about now, I'll be honest. So we'll go with a semi disagree. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. Yeah, I would say so. I'm a bit of a daydreamer, I think. Lately, I spend a lot of time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas concerning employment. And handing in my 2 weeks resignation and going off to be a famous, I don't know, lottery winner. Yeah, I would say that I do often explore unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. I'm definitely a realist when it comes to like my actions. Like I act in a way that I try to be realistic and not pessimistic, but you know, I try to look at the real side of life when making a decision. But in terms of like daydreaming, yeah, I'd strongly agree with that. My travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. I would pretty strongly agree with that. No, actually, I would very strongly agree with that. For me, a vacation, a travel plan, whatever it is, that is your time to mentally unplug if possible. And to me, if you're keeping an itinerary of 9 a.m. we're hitting up this winery, and well, but 9 a.m. at the winery, holy, maybe we're unplugging a little too much. 9 a.m. we're getting breakfast, then 10 a.m. we're at the amusement park, 12 p.m. we're gonna get lunch, etc. I don't know, that doesn't feel like a vacation to me. I like to go to places and be like, I definitely want to hit up this museum, this park, the beach, etc. The order I do them in, who cares? I'll hit you with a strong agree on that one. You often think about what you should have said in a yeah, I mean, that's, I'll replay conversations from like weeks ago in my head. Again, a lot, I think I'm concerned that my work situation is going to alter a lot of these answers. But yeah, this is a big one for me right now personally, and as I may be going through some upcoming job interviews and things of that nature, I'm sure I will be second guessing what I say a whole bunch over this next month or so. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not solve their problem. I wish I was more, they call this emotional intelligence. I'm a problem solver. I hate to say it. Not always the greatest emotional support person. It's something I wish I was better at, and I'd like to get better at. But yeah, my brain, just the way that it's wired, the first place I go is, you know, this is hilarious, by the way, because like I talk about personally the emotional trauma my job causes, and the easiest solution to the problem is just quit, forehead. But I don't take my own advice. But when someone else comes to me and they're like, hey, this situation, blah, 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 I'm like, oh, just get out of it, forehead. It's not a great approach, I would say, but I'm not I don't have the most emotional intelligence, hate to say it. People can really upset you. I would just a little slimmage of a disagree. I try my best to keep a glass half full approach. This last year has certainly tested that in more ways than I'd like to get into. I don't know that I'd say people upset me more than just general situations upset me, but don't get me wrong, there's definitely a component of that there. You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation, keep it going. Absolutely. I do nothing but Zoom calls at work right now, and the amount of time that I spend just sitting there waiting for it to end so I can go back and get back to work. And people say, Josh, why aren't you talking? Don't you have anything you'd like to contribute to this conversation? Not really. I said everything I needed to. Not that I don't appreciate you guys for being here, but yeah, once I've reached the end point of a conversation, I'm pretty much out. If someone else continues it, I will begrudgingly continue it. But for the most part, I'm out. If you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it is your top priority to get them back on track as soon as possible. Ooh, streaming? Yeah, I think top priority is a tough word. Top priority is the key here. It's a priority. Don't get me wrong. Right now, I definitely want to get back to streaming, and it's a big priority for me. I had a couple blockers in the way. We've now moved into the new home. Blocker 1, blocker 2, work stuff. I am pretty actively, like, it's up there in terms of priorities, but I'm also a little lazy, I have to admit it. So we'll go with a slight agree there. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. You can tell where my brain is. I'm approaching all of these from a work perspective, and I hate that. Interviews. I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews over the course of this next month, theoretically, and yeah, I'm going to be worrying about this quite a bit, so I would say I slightly disagree there. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend by yourself without feeling bored. Disagree. No offense to Maria, but I would have absolutely no problem spending a weekend by myself. Weekend, we're talking about 2 days. That's simple. Like 6 months, like I've pretty much done for the last 6 months? No, that's a big concern to me. Long term, I need people. Short term, that sounds like heaven. You're more of a detailed-oriented person than a big-picture person. I would pretty strongly disagree here, and I'm pretty sure this is where, at some point, I made this switch. This is where I used to be an INTJ, now I'm an INTP, or at least I used to be. is switching from, I used to like the nitty gritty details, get in there, do the finer picture of stuff. And at some point, a little bit more creativity took over and the grunt work portion. I mean, like, here's a great example. I came into college being an accounting major, details, and I ended being a marketing major because I thought marketing would be a little bit more big picture, creative, etc. Turns out, no, just as much of this garbage, unfortunately. It depends where you get into, but you know what I'm saying. But I still would think I'm more of a big picture person. The details are important. I'm just not the one to handle them, in my opinion. I'm very affectionate with people you care about. You gotta define affectionate here. Do I care deeply about the people who I care about? I mean, by definition, I guess the answer would be yes. Do I feel strong connections to the people who I care about? Absolutely. Now, how do I show that affection? Not a big hugger. Didn't come from a big hugging family. Not big into hugs, or I also didn't come from a family of compliments. My love language is quality time, I would say. Spending time with you is a great way to know that I care about you, and in that way, that's my type of affection. So it depends how you would define this. I'll give it a slight agree. You have a careful and methodical approach to life. A little bit in the middle here. I may just hit you with a neutral. First neutral. There are definitely certain things that I'm very methodical about. Like, this is the proper, you can ask Maria, this is the proper way to load the dishwasher. This is the way the pantry should be organized. This is how I drink my coffee. This is blah. I've got certain steps in life that I do like to follow. However, in terms of like a bigger picture kind of thing, I used to be very cautious and like, here's my 5-year plan, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm a little bit more just go with the flow. What happens, happens. Laissez-faire, etc. So it depends on the aspect. So I'll give you a neutral here. Still bothered by the mistakes you made long time ago? I mean, who isn't? I feel like if you're not, you may be a sociopath of some sort. It's not, you shouldn't get hung up on your mistakes from the past, and depending on the severity of the mistake, obviously, like, I'm not still here going, oh, I put 7 instead of 8 on my 3rd grade times table. That's not a big deal, but like, again, I hate to relate everything to work. You know, coming out of college, I had 2 job opportunities. One at a very well-established company who you've absolutely heard the name of, a huge corporate company with great pay, great benefits, great starting position in life. And one at a startup company with almost no employees, no benefits, tiny salary, etc. And I bet on the tiny company. And it went nowhere. And here I am now, many years later, struggling to figure out what I want to do with my career, maybe because of that decision. Who knows? Who knows where the heck I would be if I would have just taken I wanted to avoid a boring desk job. Joke's on me. I'm still at the boring desk job. I just could have been making twice as much. Anyway, so I would consider that a mistake. It bothers me tremendously. I think if you don't look back, at least to learn from your past, then you're doing something wrong. At parties, you can be found far away from the action, straight up. Yeah, I'll be hugging the wall without a doubt, trying to not talk to any human beings. You find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. Yeah, I'll hit you with a medium agree here. Again, emotions are important, they exist, and they definitely have guided decisions for me in the past, and in the present, and probably in the future. They're powerful. It's not that I don't relate to people who make this emotion-based decisions, but I am when it comes to decision making, like I said, I'm a very logic-based individual, sometimes to a fault where even trying to pick out a flavor of Ben & Jerry's ice cream can turn into a 30-minute ordeal. When looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog. No, I don't watch a lot of movies as it is. If I do watch a movie, I pretty much know exactly what movie I'm here to watch. You know why I'm here, so I don't get fined, etc. I know what I'm watching, and 90% of the time it's to rewatch a TV show or movie that I've seen 150 times, so I would disagree. You could stay calm under a lot of pressure. Here's where I think I've changed a little bit in this past year. Last year, in years past, I would have said, yeah, easy, no problem. Little did I know, there's slight differences in pressure between, ooh, I've got a paper due Friday at 9, and hey, you have a $2 million marketing budget for my company. It's all on you. Don't sink the company. My ability to stay calm under larger amounts of pressure have dissipated over the last couple of years. When in a group of people you don't know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. Not as strong a disagree. I've gotten better at this. Before, I would just never even, like, I would almost be mad. If you put me in a situation with a bunch of people I don't know, I used to be like, how could you do this to me? Fight or flight, etc. Now I'm a little bit better, but I still don't actively seek that situation if I don't have to. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. I don't know if this can be... I don't know if this means in a good way or a bad way. Bizarre and bizarre to me seems bad. Like, does imagining that I have Jedi Force powers? That's pretty bizarre, but I would say in a great way. I do have some pretty wild dreams on occasion, so I'll say yes there. In your opinion, it's okay to step on others to get ahead in life. Here's probably an area where I've softened up a bit, I gotta be honest with you. And it depends what you mean by step on others. Like, from my perspective, for you to move up, someone doesn't theoretically have to move down, but if multiple people are going for a job, you getting the job over somebody else is kind of stepping on them. So I would not say I'm like, oh, I definitely have gotten more like this, where I'm like, oh no, you go ahead. I'm definitely less blood in the water shark than I used to be. Old me, INTJ Josh, would have been like, heck yeah, take me to the top, nerd. I would disagree with this though. Slight disagree. I'll give it a slight disagree. I don't think it's okay to step on others, but I think it happens. You're dedicated and focused on your... Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and disagree with that one. I don't think I need to talk too much about it. If you make a mistake and you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge. I don't make mistakes, but also, yes, I do. This one's weird. I have a weird, it's almost like a gaslighting situation at the current job where I don't make mistakes, but I get told that I make mistakes. And that makes me start doubting myself because I'm 900% sure that I did the thing right. And when I check it, I'm still 9,000% sure that it's right, but I'm still somehow told that it's wrong. And then I start doubting myself, my abilities, and my knowledge because I'm like, maybe I am literally crazy. But then as my team has grown at the current job and I have other people who are starting to go through the same level of gaslighting that are going, no, you're not nuts. That's a thing that's happening here. It makes me feel more assured. I hate making mistakes and I get very mad at myself for making mistakes, but I don't think I start doubting myself, my abilities, or my knowledge. If anything, it motivates me to shore them up even farther. So I'll give you a slight disagree there. At a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and talk to the ones you know. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's weird. Whenever I take these, I always end up getting pretty close, introvert to extrovert. But when I'm going through them, I'm like, I'm definitely an introvert. Every time they ask me a question, I'm like, I hate people. You lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. I don't have any problem with a nice philosophical discussion every now and again. I don't think it's boring. I think it can even be kind of fun from time to time to ponder. I know the question they're getting at there is like, what's the point, basically? Like, keep it in the realm of realism. And I do like talking about that stuff too, but philosophy's kind of fun to talk about. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. Not that I would never. I don't cry often. Takes quite a bit. It takes quite a bit to get to me. As I said, I have sweater Banjo behind me. Banjo's in a sweater. I don't know if you see him over there. He's not. Banjo, please don't be dead. Banjo? He's breathing. Banjo. Yeah, he's alive. Let's go. Okay, that's great news. That would have been like on stream fails or something. He's alive though, and I would have cried in front of you right here and there. I'll give you a slight agree. It's not that I would never let myself cry in front of others, but I definitely would try my hardest not to. You feel more drawn to places with a bustling, busy atmosphere than a quiet, intimate one. Again, moderate disagree there. I could go for a concert right about now, but during normal times, give me the quiet, intimate place. I'd rather go to like a tiny hole-in-the-wall restaurant or bar than a bustling one. You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future. Yeah, I would give you actually a strong agree there. I think hearing multiple points of views is very important, and if you stay in an echo chamber, you are doing yourself a disservice. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you listen to your heart rather than your head. Again, heavy disagree here. We just went through this with buying the house. I'm about as a logically driven individual when decision-making as possible. Not to say that there's no element of the heart. You know, we walked through this house and I'm like, oh, this is the, you get some feeling of this is the one, but I would never walk into a house and be like, this is the one. Sir, it only has a 1-car garage. You wanted 2. It has no bathroom. Also, there's an old man living in the ceiling. Nope, this is the one. My heart says so. Yeah, we let logic dictate a bit of the decision making. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something you cannot see, touch, or experience. Is this like religion? Is this a religion question? You cannot imagine dedicating your life to the study of something you cannot see, touch, or experience. I don't know what this is asking me, so I'm going to go with a neutral. Teacher, I don't understand the question. You prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. It depends on the severity. Okay, let's go ahead and open up with that. For example, we started a Minecraft server amongst my friend group the other day. Friend groups, actually. And my boy Yeti came to me and said, hey Josh, remember those really awesome, the first diamonds that we ever mined in the entire game? Remember how excited you were about the diamonds? Well, I may have stolen them from your chest so I could give them to someone who I have a crush on. And while preparing to give them to said person, I died to a creeper and they're lost forever. Did I forgive him? Or did I go build a small dirt shack underneath our base called the Simp Shack? I built the Simp Shack, yeah, okay? I built the Simp Shack. We later did this, but the initial reaction on a small scale, again, the diamonds don't matter. On a small scale, something like this. On a large scale, I'm not a revenge boy. If you harm me or my family, what's the quote? You killed my father, prepare to die. If you killed my father, you might have to prepare to die. That would not be forgiving. That would be revenge. Okay, you know what? I'm a little revenge boy, I'm realizing. Decisions on a whim? No. Heavy disagree? Again, 30 minutes for Ben and Jerry's. The time you spend by yourself ends up being more interesting and satisfying than the time you spend with other people. Satisfying, maybe. I like being by myself every now and again. Interesting, without a doubt, no. So I'll give you a pretty medium disagree here. Interactions with other people are like the spice of life, so I would disagree with that. You put special effort into interpreting the real meaning of the message, a movie, or song. Oh my goodness. Me 10 years ago? Absolutely. Me now? Nah, give me some bangers. You always know exactly what you want. Heavy disagree. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what you could have done differently. It's pretty similar to a question we've had before. I'll give you a disagree. When in a public place, you stick to quiet or less quiet. Yeah, okay. So what they do here as well is they'll sometimes ask the same question multiple times to see how your answers change as the quiz goes on. And I believe that determines whether or not you have a turbulent personality that like changes from second to second, or you're pretty set in your ways. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities. Again, I would disagree, a little bit of a daydreamer. You have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Yeah, emotional intelligence needs some work. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. I actually do. I would say a yes to this. Again, big picture wise, this is what we want to do. The day-to-day of how we get it done, that can change. I like to get the big picture idea up front though. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will be till they become disappointed in you. No, I don't catch myself thinking like that too often. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find, yeah, no, I'm not. I would never walk up to another human being. If I ever do, rip off my face because someone is cosplaying as me. Daydreaming, absolutely. You look after yourself first, others come in second. It's a very rude mentality. It's tough. This one's a toughie. I care for myself, don't get me wrong. I absolutely care for other people. If this is this a question of like, if the train's coming and is you or the lady in almost said the lady in the stroller, the lady with the baby in the stroller? I don't know. I've never been in that situation. Would I sacrifice my own life? I don't know. I do enjoy living quite a bit. I hate to admit it, I'm kind of selfish. There is a select few, family, very close friends, etc., that I would pretty much do anything for, and if that situation came, I think I would. If we're talking random stranger, probably would take a look after number one. Hate to say it. So I'll give myself... This would be... I'm a little selfish. I'll give myself a 2 there. Even when you have a planned, particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. It depends. If we're talking about working out, eating right, I can have a very good plan of action, but when the time comes and I look in the fridge and my choice is between grilled chicken and rice or frozen pizza, yeah, sometimes that frozen pizza gets popped into the old George Foreman. And by George Foreman, I mean oven. Yeah, like I said, I have certain routines for how I do certain things, but I've definitely become more of a go with the flow kind of guy. Mood can change quickly. This is another one I would have used to say no, I'm pretty much the same all the time. Now, yup. You often contemplate the reason for human existence or meaning of life. I really try not to because it kind of sends me spiraling a bit, and that's when my quarter-life crises happen. But I do think about it every now and again. I literally never talk about my feelings and emotions, and it's probably very unhealthy. You have a detailed education or career development plan stretching several years in the future. Old me? Yes. Now me? Don't even know what I want to do today or tomorrow. Rarely dwell on your regrets. We kind of already had this. I disagree. Spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people makes you feel drained. Oh my God. That's such a great... Sometimes it's even after like 2 hours, and it could be like family. Like seeing family on Christmas, after 2 hours, I'm like, time to go. Brain's a little overclocked. You see yourself as a realist, then a visionary. Old me, realist. New me, visionary. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have. Okay, this is like a sympathy versus empathy. Sympathy is like, hey, that's never happened to me. I feel for you. Empathize is like, I can put myself in your shoes and I understand how you feel. I have trouble with that. My emotional intelligence, not great. Your personal work style is spontaneous bursts of energy rather than organized, consistent effort. I'm in this photo and I don't like it. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I got a pretty good control over my emotions. Lately, they have been really trying to. I think the fact that I haven't quit my job yet is a great example that I control them a little bit more. They're strong, don't get me wrong, but I still got some control. After a long, exhausting week, a fun party is just what you need. Are we talking like Project X party or like, hey, who wants to come over and watch football? Because there's a pretty big difference there. But I think relaxing is good. I'll give it a slight agree. Sorry, I'm getting pinged by work. You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancement could change everyday life. Yeah, I think the invention of self-driving cars, once they're put out on the roads and I never have to deal with another human being refusing to use their blinkers or riding my booty or changing lanes suddenly. Yeah, that sounds amazing to me, and that's just one small aspect of technological advancement. I think it is going to be amazing someday. You consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something. Yeah. I would think so. Now, sometimes I understand they may affect other people and I still do it anyway, and that's a problem. However, I would say that I at least consider it. I don't just do things with reckless abandon. You honor the commitments you made even if you have a change of heart all the time, and I don't want to change in this regard. There's a lot of times where I agree to do something and then later go, ooh, probably shouldn't have done that. This is kind of going to stink, but you go through it nonetheless because that's what you should do. Rarely feel insecure. The insecurity has definitely creeped up a bit, as the quarter life crises have. I do with a slight disagree there. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie, I don't know why my voice did that. 30 minutes later, we've reached the end of the personality test. Please be an INTP. Please continue to be an INTP, or we're gonna have a crisis live on camera. Let's see my results. Let's go, ooh, baby. You got, look, see, okay, look how close I am to an INTJ. I could come back. Someday I could maybe come back to the promised land of INTJ. It's our closest one. So let's take a look at this. Your personality type is the logician. INTP. T, I think, means turbulent, which I think means I messed up my answers. Oops. Okay, yeah, pretty introverted. 83% to 17%. How do we reject our mental energy? Intuitive versus observant. 73% versus 27%. Don't really know what that means, but okay. How we make up decisions and cope with emotions. Okay, definitely more of a logic boy than a feeling boy. Yes, we knew that. Judging versus processing, and turbulent. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities. That's not so great, but that's fine. All right, I don't want to spend a ton of time going into this. I'm mostly, because I've read this a lot before. But I am happy to report we are still an INTP. That hasn't changed. I still miss you, INTJ. Someday I'll be back, hopefully. But for now, we're the logician. Let's take a look at some of the quick hits, I would say. No, I don't need a copy of my results. Thank you, though. An intro. It's fairly rare, 3% of the population. There's nothing they'd be more unhappy about than being common. Agree 100%. They pride themselves on their inventiveness and creativity. Again, I think maybe I don't want to be an INTJ anymore, because I would agree with this. Thomas Edison was actually like my boy. I did so many book reports in elementary school about Thomas Edison. I was obsessed with the man because he invented so many things. You know how hard it is to invent things now? As a kid, I was like, I'm going to be an inventor someday. Back in the day, you could have been like, man, I kind of hate pooping in this hole. What if we had a special hole just for pooping? Congrats, you've invented the toilet. Very easy to invent stuff back in the day. Now you have to be like, I've created a new neural network that links all human AI together. I struggle with that one a little bit. Their unique perspective and vigorous intellect. Usually known as the philosopher, the architect, or the dreamy professor. Bonk. Logicians have been responsible for many scientific discoveries throughout history. Good thing I'm in business. Okay, the unexamined life is not worth living. Dude, patterns. I used to do memory games all the time as a kid. Patterns, discrepancies, do not lie to me. I would agree. I will read you like a dang book. It makes it ironic because their words should always be taken with a grain of salt. It's not that they're dishonest, but they tend to share thoughts that are not fully developed, using others as sounding. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, you got me. Maybe I just need to, maybe the problem is that I haven't accepted that I'm an INTP. I'm still holding on to that INTJ deep somewhere within me. It's nailing it so far. It makes them appear unreliable. Oops. Okay. They are not interested in the practical day-to-day activities and maintenance. Oof. Can I just send this to any future employers and be like, sorry, shove your spreadsheet where the sun don't shine. I'm an INTP. I don't think it works like that, unfortunately, but I wish it did. Yeah, I hate doing the day-to-day minutia. When they find an environment where their creative genius and potential can be expressed, there is no limit. Yeah. Okay, so I live in a repressed creative environment right now. That's a problem. Wisdom. How many times did I say the word daydream over the course of this? They drift into daydreams. Their minds buzz with ideas from the moment they wake up. Not as much anymore. It used to, for sure. The constant thinking can make them look pensive and detached, but they're often conducting full-fledged debates. I'm sometimes thinking, Maria and I will be like, what are we going to get for dinner? And sometimes like the first 3 hours of the day are weighing pizza versus Chinese food in my head somewhere. They're relaxed and friendly with the people who they know and share their interests, yes, but have overwhelming shyness among unfamiliar faces. Here's the problem. Do I believe you can shove everybody in the human race into one of 16 categories? No. They got me though. They got me, ladies and gentlemen. It's so accurate. This could again just be like a horoscope type thing where they just write it very broad so that it can apply to everybody in some situations, but this really feels like me. The friendly banter can become combative if they believe they're, yeah, I do get pretty dang defensive if you tell me I'm wrong about something. I'm not afraid to admit it. When they're excited, the conversation can border on incoherence. They move on from it. Yeah, that seems, maybe. The reverse can be true, subjectivity and feeling. Okay, that's fine. I want to get to, okay, yeah, let's get to strengths and weaknesses. Albert Einstein. Why do they got Bill Gates holding a needle? Microchips. Bill Gates, Kristen Stewart, Albert Einstein, Stanley Crouch. I don't know who that is. Isaac Newton, Ren Descartes. This is a map man. I don't remember what you did, but something mappy. Elliot Page, don't know. Pascal, mathematician. Lord Varys, bald man. Neo from the Matrix. I could stop bullets is what you're saying? I don't know who you are. The Hulk. Another Game of Thrones, I don't know. Big Bang Theory, don't know. 24, don't know. Prison Break, don't know. Community, Abed, that's great. Jack Ryan, don't know. John Krasinski. Okay, that's a good, I'm fine with that. That's a fine start. Let's quickly get into some strengths and weaknesses just to see. Okay. Your strengths. You're a good analyst and an abstract thinker. You're imaginative and original. You're open-minded. You're enthusiastic, objective, honest, and straightforward. I don't know about straightforward, but the rest I would agree with. Very private and withdrawn. Yes, I'm a shy boy. Insensitive. They forget any kind of emotional consideration. They dismiss subjectivity as irration and tradition in an attempt to bar much-needed progress. This is again something I've changed on and am continuing to work on, but yeah, I would say I'm still not the most, emotionally intelligent individual. Yup. I don't know about condescending. That's a little, that might be a little rude. I try not to be for sure. Okay, maybe there may be a time. You got me. They loathe rules and guidelines, yes, absolutely, and they second guess themselves. Yeah, every now and again. Romantic relationships, I think I'll skip this one. Parenthood, definitely skipping that one. Here's what I'm interested in, career paths, because I'm trying to figure out my job, so let's take a look at some career paths. They're solitary, eccentric, and independent, none of which is listed as desirable for corporate positions. I'm screwed. They struggle in finding careers that meet their needs, but what they do bring qualities in much higher demand are creativity, a passion for theoretical methods and ideas, and an entrepreneurial, innovative spirit. I should just start a dang business. If they're able to put this better foot forward to secure a position in a suitable line of work, people with the logician personality type will find that whatever the job listing says, these less desirable qualities will preserve. Okay, cool. A poem of numbers. We like models and underlying principles and ideas. I'm a pretty big fan of math. I'm not gonna lie to you. Physics, never took one. Can't speak too much about physics, but it's mostly just math. There's other careers, uninteresting. True, okay. Self-driven, high personal standards. Good enough is never enough. This is gonna be my first highly disagree here. I don't think you nailed this one about me. Old me would have, yes, shoot for the stars, if you miss, you freaking suck. New me is shoot for the stars, but shoot for the moon. Old me was shoot for the moon, and if you hit Jupiter, you suck. Now me is shoot for the moon, and if you land amongst the stars, you still did pretty dang good. So I would say that good, there is such a thing as good enough. You could be happy with less. They're hard for more people-centric type to understand. They live in their own heads. That's true. They have little interest in social distractions like chit-chat and motivational speeches. Now you got me again. Retweet. They want to immerse themselves in an interesting project. Anything that interrupts that can be it overactive managers, the need to manage others, office parties, meetings, are simply unwelcome burdens. Oh my God. I'm just gonna share this the next time they ask why I'm not talking in this silly meeting where we're talking about, I don't know, geese. For this reason, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Wait, what did that say? Where'd it go? Wait, what'd you say? Small technical workplaces, law forensics laboratory, okay. Insightful and open-minded managers will find their logician subordinates to be a tireless generator of brilliant, unique ideas. Yeah, unless you tell them that all of them suck. Then he might not be. Many people may do away with the immediate hierarchy altogether and opt to provide services on a freelance basis. Maybe that's the key. Emotional value is a mere illusion. I don't like reading these. They make me feel bad. They struggle to understand emotional exchange, and service-oriented positions are baffling and exhausting. Customer service is pretty important. I would disagree with that. I would disagree. Business is growing complex. The complexity is managed with technical systems, economic theory and data, the need for novel approaches. Yeah. Work as business analyst and corporate strategist. Hire me, please. They can also move things forward as data analysts, mechanical and electrical software engineers, and technical writers and journalists. They can smile and shake hands just long enough to establish themselves as brilliant innovators. I don't know about that. Give me some workplace habits. Tell me why I hate my job so much. They desire solitude and intellectual stimulation and the satisfaction of finding the final piece of the puzzle. Sure. They look for in their workplace. They scoff at the notion. They function best when paired with another person. I would agree with this. Small teams, yes. 20-person meetings. They live in their heads. I do like having a second person to bounce ideas off of. Doing it by myself is kind of a pain in the butt. They're innovative, resourceful, hardworking. They wrap their... I feel like this is just kind of... No offense to the site, but this is all just a bunch of self-aggrandizing... I can think of a non-PC term for it, but I won't... by PC, I mean just like... PG, I guess, is a better circle jerk. It's a little circle jerky, is what I'll say. It feels like they just keep telling me how amazing I am, except for in the weaknesses portion. But most of this seems to just be, you're amazing, you're a big old genius, you're smart. Not that I don't feel like that ever, but it's rare. Here we go, managers. They don't care for managing other people. Shoot, why am I applying for so many management roles? It provides the opportunity to direct concepts and theories while letting others handle the logistics. That's what I want. They have a tolerant, flexible style. They're open to suggestions, but freedom comes at a cost. They have high standards and they expect others to grasp their insights instantly and to provide their own equal in measure. Yeah, maybe. All right, this has been a long video. Let's wrap it up with the conclusion here. We have a powerful intellect, vivid imagination. They can overcome obstacles, okay? At some point, you probably hit a tipping point. You went from a trademark logician skepticism, to wait, what? You may even be a little uncomfortable because you're not used to being understood, even by the people you're closest to. Bruh. Chances are you've accepted that as a part of who you are and maybe even grown proud of it, but embracing that disconnection isn't a requirement. It's a misused defense mechanism leading you down a lonely, inefficient path. Can we get back to the circle jerking? What happened? Now you're hitting me with the realism bombs. There is no date of birth gimmick. No, we did not spy on you. Are you... Oh my goodness, internet beef? Do we have internet beef between the Myers Briggs and astrology? We spent years studying their life stories, experiences, patterns, and hundreds of surveys. You're a unique individual, but you are not alone. It's wise to learn from others' experiences. As you move forward into the ebooks, nice upsell attempt. It ain't happening. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there's our Myers Briggs personality type. We are an INTP, which makes me pretty darn happy. It means I haven't changed in the last 4 or 5 years, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but at the very least, it means I will not be having a crisis of conscience tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, please consider showing some support down below. Liking, commenting, subscribing helps out a great deal. Share with your grandmother as always. But with that, thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping to be back to some regular content pretty soon, but for now, just take these one-off videos and enjoy them. We may be doing some of the other ones that Yeti did as well, and maybe even some more beyond that we think would might be a good time. I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys. Probably not tomorrow, but like sometime.